All right. What's up, guys? Down in the Nerd Cave again. Just working on the diorama. I was on Periscope a minute ago, so trying to get used to the. I would like to use this format. The video is so much cleaner on this one. But yesterday we did run into some lag. What's going on, man? You guys all calmed down now? Sale punched out 14. Hey, Rev. Oh, really? What are you rating? Yeah. Rev, I'm thinking the lag is not good on here. So, Rev, check your watch. I'm saying my computer clock says 10:09. Tell me when you hear this, what your computer clock says. Yeah, I never got into the planes. I was done before the planes. I did Vox and Nagapin, but I never got into the. I liked. I don't know. I guess I had so much fun in Blackborough and yeah. So there's about a minute delay. I just got to remember that as I. Yeah. I forgot how hard it was. I really did. But I loved it. Just going back outside Keno's and watching Fippy run back and forth was fun. Working on a diorama, 1940 France. Specifically, right now, I'm working on the wagon wheels on a German field kitchen. That doesn't up the excitement level. Yeah. You know what I remember probably more than anything? Probably my favorite time, my favorite two places, other than the low levels, was Carno's Castle and City of Mist. I remember the first time I zoned into the City of Mist. And I like Mistmore too. Castle Mistmore was fun. Yeah, so I'm doing a diorama on early France, 1940. Just because. It's actually a topic in the time period I like. B is done. There's A. Yeah, here, Dan, I'll show you a couple things. So the idea will be that this French tank, which is a early French heavy tank, was knocked out and it was being towed by this tank. After that tank was knocked out by this half track, and there's an armored car platoon going down a road consisting of this German armored car, this French armored car that is captured, and on the side, and there'll be about 8 or 9 motorcycles, and then hey, what's up, Trumpy? And then there'll be a barn. Hey, Andy. So yeah, I was a monk. That was my main. I was a freaking good puller. Hey, John. I was a damn good puller. I could pull in Gook, and I could pull in Solusek as good as anybody in the game. I like to claim. I could feign to pull with anybody. God, that was fun. Yeah, I worked my ass off at that. Well, as hard as you can work in an MMO, I guess. But I was always in demand too, because I was a puller, which was great. Yeah. Yeah, I played Aegis.
The budget's washed and let go.
See, that was right where I left, Red Sox. That was right when I left the game. I did a plain fear. It got to be, it would stop being a game at that point for me, and I didn't like that. Like having to be on at a certain time for raids and having it be hours, and just didn't work. Took a lot of the fun out of it for me. So yeah, I played a lot of WoW. I had a couple max level guys. That sounds about like when I can't remember what expansion I left with, but it was right around then too. I think. I played a lot of planes, but the thing that made the world unique, they got rid of. With all the teleporting and everything, they made the world small. And so, I got away for a while. When coming back, it was impossible to find people. So you kind of had to be in a guild because you couldn't solo the fun content unless you took a 60 in the Black Burrow. Yeah, I had a couple max. My initial main was a shaman. Hey, is Scott on? All right. Hey, Rev, we're going to need to draw the winners tomorrow because I need to overnight the tickets. Yeah. Well, it was like everything else, though, you know. Few bad apples always spoiled it for everybody. I played COD. I wasn't a hardcore player. I liked it, though. But it kind of coincided with me getting older. And so, like, I don't have a lot of desire to play games I can't win or be better than everybody else. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but I just can't. Unless I'm relaxing. Hey, Rev. All right, yeah, okay. No, don't worry about it. You know what? Yeah, back in the day, I'd play back when EverQuest was out. I would play in the clubhouse, like when I was done working out and stuff, but never like these idiots now. Oh, thank God I saw that. No. Hang on. Shoot, hang on. No, never played. I always said I'd play a baseball game when they made it as hard as the real thing. Hang on one sec. Mother fricker. All right. How did I first hear about? Well, hang on. Give me 1 minute. Come on. There it is. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I never played it. 3-1 Sharks. Turn out the lights. The phone's over. What that mean? Okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Goes through there. Nice. Hey. Yeah.
There's a time and place for everyone. We can push with all our might, but nothing's gonna come. Oh no, nothing's gonna change. And if I ask you not
Hold on a second.
to try, oh, would you let me?
That's not right. No, never played that. Oh, son of a. All right. Just figured it out.
Change the things we say and do anytime. Oh no, but I think you'll find that if you look inside your heart, oh, I'll be
Yeah, interesting new angle. One way to put it. What's up? Hey, Scott. Scott, we got a draw tomorrow night. And you'll need to get the addresses like right away because I got to overnight I got to have somebody overnight the tickets. Yeah. I like doing it on both too. Because I'm out of town. I leave tomorrow morning.
Come on, baby.
I'll be back Sunday. I got into boxing when Tyson was getting good. But no, I've never been a big boxing guy.
Come on, baby, finish what you started. I'm in complete. That ain't no way to treat the broken hearted.
No, that was unbelievable. Every night, every fight. Let's take it step one by one. Keeping the dream alive. It's alive. It's killing. It's happening. So come on, baby, please. Come on, baby, finish what you started. Oh, I'm incomplete. That ain't no way to treat the broken hearted. Come on, finish that. Best one I saw was I was in it. That was my funnest.
Baby, come on. Come on, baby. Please. Oh, baby. Come on. Come on, baby. Finish what you started. There ain't no way to treat the broken hearted. Come on, baby, finish what you started. Give it. There ain't no way to treat the broken hearted. Baby, come on. Each step baby. Baby, come on. Yeah. Come on.
All right. Working.
Satisfied. Baby, come on. Yeah. Baby, come on.
All right. One sec. I got a real small piece I got to put on.
So come on, baby, come on.
It's already not starting up. Gosh, dang it.
You may have all you want, baby. Boy, I got something you need.
All right. All right. Manny was the best of my lifetime. Best all around. Average power. And he's so damn smart as a hitter.
To the core. Keep talking out loud. Just like I told you before. I've been to the edge. There I stood up town. Oh, I lost a lot of friends there, baby. I'm on top of this round.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's go. Another question I'm not going to answer. I had a lot of them, though. JD could play, man. I'm wondering if I can't put the FAQ sheet on the screen. Yeah. No worries. I don't know. I never play with them. Pumped. How pumped do you think I was? Culmination of a lifetime right there of events. I did early in my career, yes. A lot more before I found out he cheated. Hang on one sec. No, I'm not jelly beans. Yeah. Like I was there for a lot of some of the biggest moments in the history of the game. Joe Carter, Luis Gonzalez, coming back from down 3-0, 86 years. Yeah, so I said I've been more blessed. Yeah, we went to Ground Zero. Less than a month after it happened, we were at Ground Zero. Yeah, Ground Zero was a life altering experience. I mean, it was just, I don't think the size and scope of devastation were really understandable unless you actually stood there and looked at it. I already have my own website. You know what? That's a good idea. Rev, I'm just going to put my FAQ up on my blog and we'll post a link to this and whatnot. My blog is 38pitches.wordpress.com. Echo. Next day or next song. Echo. Yeah, there you go. No, continue. I can tell you a month after it happened, you could smell the death still. You smell dead bodies. It's a, well, anybody that's been in the military knows what I'm talking about.
See you driving down my road. I tell you what, you're the prettiest girl I know. Yes, that's for sure. But maybe you see that before it gets old. I tell you what, you know, that's all I go no. I'm a baby to you, baby.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Fucking kidding me? That's terrible. It depends on the guacamole. No, we wouldn't have lost. The war was over before that. Good while before that, actually. No, not really. We won the battle because we overwhelmed them. They were trying to get to Antwerp, which wouldn't have mattered. Hitler thought he could get to Antwerp and somehow affect our forces, supplies, and chain of command, or chain of logistics, but it would have never. That wasn't even a concern or a worry. This is atrocious. Hold on. I would say Stalingrad. I think, but yeah, I would say Stalingrad probably more than anything. They were never going to recover from that. Because I think even if they had won at Kursk, it wouldn't have mattered. Kursk would have just let them get back to Germany in a little bit better shape. They might have been able to sue for peace, but we effed all that up. When we pushed for unconditional surrender, that guaranteed that the war was going to go longer. I mean, I'm not arguing whether we should have or shouldn't have. But once we asked for unconditional surrender, we took away all the options. Why did he go after Russia? Because he bought into the hype. He thought he was smarter than everybody else in the world. Come on, Dave. Give me a break. Come on, break. Break. Yeah, it's not poor land. I mean, you look at the Caucasus are oil rich. The Ural Mountains are mineral rich. It's just there's millions of square miles of nothing between Germany and those places. It's not really uninhabitable, honestly, because that's where most of the peasants live. That millions of square miles. I understand what you're saying. There's really no infrastructure, which is a totally fair argument. It's definitely inhabitable, but it's certainly not. Well, let's be very clear about something. If he had backed away and let all three army groups go on their commander's orders, they would have taken Russia. Unequivocally, without a doubt. They were 30 miles outside of Moscow when the winter hit. And the winter hit, if they listened to his generals, they would have never stopped. They would have been in Moscow. They would have won. Because I think Russia capitulates at that point. Yeah. You go look. They saw the spires of the Kremlin. That's how close they were. They talk about it. I don't know if I agree with that. A lot of factors into that. Definitely a great debate. So were ours. Almost all of our pilots were. No. Hitler ran the Russian campaign. That's why they lost. If he had listened to Halder, if he had listened to Guderian, if he had listened to people that weren't his toadies, no doubt in my mind they would have beat Russia. Convincingly, too. Because when they attacked Russia, you got to remember, Russia was in the midst of reforming their entire armored corps, all of it. And they operated, well, I mean, the millions and millions of prisoners they took because Russia kept allowing them to encircle massive amounts of troops. But when Hitler shifted, I think it was the 4th and 10th Panzer Division up north because he wanted to take Leningrad, and then changed his mind and wanted to shift into the Urals, that was the beginning of the end. Old Tom and Jerry. You got to remember, Patton wasn't running things at that point. MacArthur was pretty much the guy, and Bradley in the West. But they recognized the Russian problem, absolutely.
You are the little dreamer. You are the little dreamer.
We Talk Sports is no longer. Blaze TV canceled it. Horsey. The only reason Patton got back into the fight was because of Bradley too. Bradley recognized his battlefield genius. Although I just read a great book a couple nights ago that kind of defeats a lot of the urban legend of Patton. Book's called Fighting Patton, and it's Patton through the eyes of the generals he fought against. Fascinating book. Yeah, I enjoyed doing it. I thought Bradley would end up being a president, honestly. Like, when I look back, it looks like his career path should have taken him that way, it feels like. All right. So I love Patton, all right? But I don't think he was everything he wanted us to think he was. But that's still, I don't want that to sound like I'm disparaging him, because I wouldn't do that. I don't care. He was amazing. He was a general's general. He was a soldier's general. You know, I just don't think when you talk about some of the greatest strategists and field commanders of all time, I'm not sure he's there. I mean, listen, if you want to talk about at the outset of the war, the smartest man on the planet when it came to combat, in my opinion, was Guderian. mean, the things that he did, it's hard because when you look back from this perspective, you're looking back with hindsight with all the things we know now and trying to understand that they did all the things that they did without knowing what we know. That's what makes them transcendent, right? For me, anyway. That's the challenging part of looking back on history. Is, people say, well, of course he did. Of course he did. Napoleon was effing smart. He lost Waterloo because of Wellington, Blucher, and his own General Ney and Grouchy. I think Ney cost him Waterloo. But I hate to say that because that takes away from Wellington's credit. But Ney's charge ended any chance that they had of winning Waterloo. Because if you remember, both armies were on opposing hills, crests. And back in the time, Monty was an asshole. Hang on one second. If you remember back in the time, so if you look, and by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but they fought at Waterloo by choice. A year earlier, Wellington had picked Waterloo as the place where he would engage Napoleon if he ever came north. And the reason was, so back in the day, I guess, and I find this hard to believe, but I believe it. When you stood opposing armies against each other, you didn't duck or hide, which, again, I just totally am flabbergasted about. But you didn't. You stood there, and you formed your square or your line, and when cannonballs started raking people out, you just refilled their spots. Well, Wellington didn't do that. So Wellington always used reverse slopes. So what he did in picking Waterloo was he picked the slope on the north side of the valley. And because, to be very clear, the French ruled the early 1800 battlefields for one reason. Their artillery was so much better and in so much larger quantity that you couldn't stand against them. However, Wellington knew that, and he knew he could neutralize Napoleon's artillery at Waterloo because he was going to hide a very large contingent of his forces behind the crest of the hill that the British were defending, right? So he does this, and you have to picture this. So when you were looking at the British line across, there was this hill, and there were guys on top of it, and they were killing him, blah, blah, blah. And if you turn and look at the hill sideways, behind the hill was a reverse slope, and then it went back, and it came up. So you could see over the hill, you could see a rise in the back in the forest. Well, Waterloo or Brussels was north, and the British took all of their wounded and injured to Brussels. Well, when Ney got to the front line, he could see over the crest, and all he saw were British soldiers going up the crest of the reverse hill with wounded. He thought it was a general retreat. So he orders his cavalry to charge, and he's in pretty much charge of all of Napoleon's cavalry at Waterloo. He orders a couple of units to charge, and back in the day, it was well known that once you worked up cavalry and they charged, you lost control of them because of the horses and the frenzy that they got in. Well, you have to remember too, the square, which was the defensive formation you fought cavalry in, was impenetrable to cavalry because horses will not charge into a soldier kneeled with his rifle up. Well, so Nate charges, hits the crest of the hill, starts mauling people, gets right over the rise, and realizes there's 20 or 21 British squares on the opposite side of the hill. He can't stop his men, and they're going crazy, and they start charging the squares. Well, Wellington, who apparently, I didn't know this, but once I read the books that I read, he was apparently one of the greatest defensive geniuses in history. He had laid his 20 squares like a checkerboard. So there was a square, blank space, square, blank space, square, and in the blank space, there was a square behind it. So when the horses bypassed the squares, they would go in between two and in front of a third. And there were two kneeling lines and two standing lines. And the two standing lines would volley off. And they wouldn't shoot till they were right there. And they effing mauled them. So what happens? They maul them. They maul them. And instead of pulling back, Nate pulls back to the crest of the hill, regroups, and charges again. And at that point, you already had the Young Guard committed over at Planceno because the Prussians were showing up. But Napoleon got too greedy. Oh, yeah. Hey, Scott, were you listening to EEI that day? I started writing a screenplay for Waterloo because it's the bloodiest battle in the history of man. Every veteran of that battle talks about the fact that the carnage was unbelievable. Scott, you were listening to EI that day that guy called in and tried to challenge me on D-Day? You're not as smart as you think you are. All right, go. Let's go. He tried to say, what were three of the beaches on Normandy? I said, how about we go with all five? Gold, Suno, Jord, Utah, and Omaha. Sword was the British beach. Juno was the Canadian and British beach. The Americans had Omaha and Utah. Any more? He's like, oh, wow. I guess you do know. But that's why I read. I just learned all of this about Waterloo in the last 6 months. Rev can tell you that, Scotty. I got fascinated with it, and I bought like four books and the four supposedly best. The initial opening scene, it was from all of the veterans that I talked to, it was the most realistic thing, sort of the actual thing they ever saw. They said it was exactly like the movie, but real life. That's what they tried to tell you. Like they said, just imagine that opening scene being real, because that's exactly what it was. And you got to remember too, close to 1,000 of those guys were 17 or younger, which is mind-boggling when you consider this generation we're growing up with. Yeah, they worked with people that were at the beach, and Wait a minute. I don't have your ears, brother. That's not good. Oh, there it is. He was smart, Gene. I mean, from everything I know, he was a soldier's soldier. Obviously a born leader. And I always got the feeling, in my impression, was that he was a guy who made a decision and stuck to it. They're really, I don't have a lot to go by, and I got to tell you, it's one of the. Yeah, I have a shirt, one of my favorite shirts. It says, "We will cross the frozen river in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve to kill you. We've done it. Trust me." Yeah. Many of them didn't make it off the boats. Yeah. I have a T-shirt of it. I love it. Yeah. Grant. Thought McPherson. Obviously Lee. Some good ones. Yeah, that's something I've never studied that I want to study more and understand is the Freemason stuff. That stuff fascinates me. Yeah, don't know much about him. Civil War is probably the one I have done the least amount of investment in. I love it. I love good games front to play it. Yeah. Hang on. I don't think that's all conspiracy, honestly. I do think it's fascinating. Well, I crawl around the floor and look for some horse ears. Oh, there it is.
course, number 2 just fell over.
Yeah, like I said, I don't believe it's all true, but I also really honestly don't believe that it's all false. Gosh, dang it. All right, I'm going to run upstairs, check the boys, see what's going on. But pretty much done. With the kitchen. All right, guys, you take care. I'll catch up with you guys. All right, I'm out tomorrow morning. I'll be on the phone checking things out. All right, have a good night, guys.